How to increase your borrowing capacity, particularly in this commercial property investing? If you want to know, then stick around. First of all, we need to understand is that the investing, when you think about property investing, the first thing that comes to our mind is the residential properties, a house or house and land package, or it's a strata unit or whatever. So if you invest, and perhaps the first thing that you came to a mind is that, okay, I want to buy in my own name, because that's how we've been taught and that's how we do this. Perhaps you bought your property in your own name already, so you know that, just put your name and you can buy. The problem with buying your own name is that you have a certain limit of how much you can borrow from the bank, and then once you put that ceiling and you cannot borrow anymore, and if you go to a mortgage broker and say, oh sorry, your borrowing capacity is hit and you cannot get it. But that is not the case when you start purchasing commercial property, and in a different way. What is that way? That if you buy commercial property, remember commercial properties are high income. As the income comes in, that income also gets added on top of your personal income. Hence the combined income becomes more, and then bank can lend you certainly more money. That's number one point. So you need to understand that residential property, the serviceability checks are based on the income, the standard income that you get from the residential property. It is really low, like 3 or 4% like gross return, but 3% net return maximum. On the other side, in commercial property you can get 6 or 7% net return. Hence you get more income. Because you get more income, hence you can borrow more money. The second thing that you need to understand is that buying commercial property means you set up a separate legal entity, either a company or it's a family trust or unit trust, depends on what you want to buy and with whom you want to buy. So based on the separate entity, because it is a separate legal entity you are setting it up, then those entities are going to purchase property and those entities going to take loan. Because those entities going to take loan, the loan is not in your name, hence you would be able to borrow more and more money. In fact, I always tell people that, hey, if your mortgage broker said that, oh, you cannot borrow anymore, then come and talk to us. We will find a way, if you want to buy commercial property, to purchase, because you would be able to get loan if you want to buy a commercial property, even though your residential mortgage broker said that, oh, you cannot get loan anymore. And then of course second one, as I said, that so for that you need to set it up a separate legal entity. Is called family trust, particularly if you're buying like within your family, like you and your spouse, or within the family, then you should be setting it up a family trust. Setting up a family trust and then you purchase that property in that entity will actually significantly increase your borrowing capacity, because you are not taking the loan in your own name anymore, you are taking loan all these entities. And this is the game the rich and wealthy people play. They do not, none of them they buy that property in their own name. They always buy in a separate entities, so that way they can protect their asset and also they can increase their borrowing capacity. And this is how you can increase your borrowing capacity too. So this is one of the fundamental way, like you are the guarantor of the loans, but you are not the actual loan holder. So basically you are not borrowing the loan, you are not borrowing the money from the bank, it's your entity which is borrowing. Because your entity is borrowing, the loan is not in your name. If the loan not in your name, you can borrow n amount of money if you have that enough deposit to buy that commercial property. Generally speaking, commercial property is, let's say, 70-30. So 70% is bank's money, 30% is your money. As long as you give that 30% money whatever way, so the other 70% bank is going to lend you, and it will keep on lending you if you create different structures, if you create different companies or a family trust, and you would be able to borrow n number of, and you can increase your borrowing capacity significantly. So this is the way you can borrow, this is the way you can increase your capacity, and this is the way you can buy commercial property and a multi-million dollar commercial property, and there is no problem with that. If you buy in your own name, if you think that you're stuck with your finance, you will not be able to get loan, then come and talk to us, and then we will help you to find your loan. We will help you to get that loan and get that property over the line.